Ryan, Andrew, I see you're on. Does the slides change? Just making sure
Yes,
it works.
yes. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, mate.
Never knew Higgins wore glasses.
You look smart.
I know, he looks way more intelligent.
I used to have to wear them for uni just so I felt like I was actually doing uni work. I don't think I've ever seen Ryan Riley without a hat on.
Like to surprise you, buddy.
Beautiful hairline.
Oh no.
There's no sun inside, is there?
I'll just give it a few minutes till 6:02, and then we'll get started.
Rumor has it anyone with the name Ryan has to sing a song before we start.
Everton. I'm sorry.
I have some bad memories of that song.
You've got to give us a verse or something now, Jones.
Absolutely not.
You
All right, it is 6:02, so let's get started. Welcome to another season, a new year of competitive soccer at Alameda. Everyone's excited, the coaches are excited. I'm sure the players and parents are too. So, today I'm just gonna give a little season outline, what the year's gonna look like. You know, there's probably a lot of returning families who have heard similar information, but there's definitely new families, and we welcome them to the club. So welcome on board, and you know you'll be learning a lot today. I'll try and go through it fairly quickly. The aim is to get it done within 30 minutes, and then teams can go on to their individual team meetings if they have those today. I know that they are, you know, within the next 7 days or so. So just a bit of housekeeping to begin with. Just please ensure that your mic and cameras are turned off. And then if you have any questions, please ask them in the chat throughout the presentation. We do have coaches on here, and there'll be board members on here as well that can get back to you as soon as possible. So if you are a coach, you are on the board, or even if you're a parent that has the answer, feel free to answer the questions, because I'm sure there will be some as the presentation goes on. So this is the agenda of what we're going to go through. Lots of information. Hopefully it's not too overwhelming. I am recording this presentation as well, and I'll send that link out. So feel free, you know, put the pens and papers away if you have them on board, because you will get this the link to this presentation, or you can just take a photo if there's a specific slide that you need. So first of all, just a big thank you to the board of directors, really. On this slide is the exec board, and then you've got the appointed board and the elected board. So, you know, as I switch between the two, you can see how many people volunteer their time and honestly, they do so much. Like the amount of stuff they do behind the scenes that you don't even realize is crazy. And I think you can really start to understand that when you look at how many different positions there are just to make the club run so smoothly. Um, I've worked at numerous clubs in this country now since 2014, and it's probably the hardest working board and the most efficient board I've worked under. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the director of coaching at this club. They do a lot, and it's it's an honor to work for the club, and everyone's been so friendly. This is my second season now at the club. Last year was my first, and everyone was so welcoming, and it was a really easy transition from my previous club into here. So yeah, just a big thank you to all the board of directors really that make the club run as smooth as it does. And then these are the professional coaches that you will see on and off the field this coming year. One thing you will notice is that we do have a lack of females. So if you do know any female coaches, please send me an email, a call, a text, knock on my door, whatever it is. We are desperately looking for female coaches to provide that female role model to our girls team. So we don't have that at the moment, but we are looking, we are proactively looking. But these are the current coaches that we have on board, and it's just crazy to think how much Alameda has grown even within the last like 12 to 24 months. Like we have such a healthy coach slate. It's it's not just me being biased. People tell me that Alameda has the best coach slate in the area. Alameda Soccer Club is part of 24/7 UK Soccer Academy. Other clubs are Montclair, Piedmont, Castro Valley, and AFC. And the one thing even those clubs say to me is you have the best coaching slate. And it's a credit to these guys who are also on the Zoom call. So, we're all excited to get going for this upcoming year. And it's not only them at the bottom, it's the best volunteer coaches. I mean, this club could not run if it weren't for the volunteer coaches. And I'm talking about the parent assistant coaches. I'm talking about the parent head coaches who take the teams on the weekend when they don't have a pro coach. So it's just a big thank you and to everyone that puts in the hard work, time, effort, energy into making Alameda such a successful club. So now into the details, what to expect from our coaches. First of all is continuous coach development. I'm really fortunate to have coaches that want to develop themselves without being forced to. So whenever there's a coaching license or a coaching clinic, they're there. They're wanting to improve themselves. They're wanting to learn more. We have a few coaches at the moment on licenses. I know Ryan Jones is in the middle of his B license, and a few more are currently on there. So it's great to have staff that are so invested in their development, because when they care about themselves, it translates onto caring about your son or daughter. The practice sessions, they match the latest trends of soccer. So around 10 years ago, when I first came over here, the big thing in team training was, all right, the first 30 minutes, it's going to be every kid has a ball each, and we're going to get 1,000 touches on the ball. Now that's going more towards the players doing that in their own time, players arriving to practice before we start practice, doing that in their own time. Now practice sessions with the team are all about how can we develop decision making? How can we develop speed of play? So our coaches are always planning their sessions, catching up with the latest trends that are not only happening in America, but in Europe as well. A big thing for me is constant communication with families. It's life, right? Some coaches are going to be better than others. All coaches are trying their hardest to communicate with families on a constant basis. If you don't hear from your coach and it's been a few weeks and there isn't constant communication, please reach out to me, because that's one thing that I do want my coaches to do, and that is communicate with you. It doesn't need to be every day. I'm probably a bit excessive. I probably communicate too much. But if it's once a week, at least once every other week, giving an update on what the players are working on in practice, a little game review from the weekend, that's what we expect from our coaches. A fun and competitive environment. Every practice has to be competitive. We want to make sure we create competitive players, but in the right way. Every session has to be fun. They've got to want to arrive to practice. They've got to want to be there. If they aren't having fun, yet again, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to jump on a phone call. Because if what you're paying for isn't fun, then why are you paying for it? And then committed to excellence, making sure we have the right fit. We go through a vigorous interview process to make sure we get the right coaches. We've got a few new coaches this year, including Mr. Kurt Cox. He has arrived full of endless energy and he is committed to excellence. I think he was the first one to get his calls done, the first one to chase up parents when they haven't responded. So we're bringing on each year the right coaches who are committed to excellence and are the right fit for your son or daughter. So then the expectations of parents. Please update TeamSnap by Sunday night for the following week's practice. As coaches, we like to plan for the week ahead, so make sure it's updated so we know who is and isn't coming. Update TeamSnap when the season schedule comes out for every future game. The game schedule will start to be populated around the end of August or middle of August. This way, coaches know whether to get guest players in. Assist your child in making good nutrition choices. It's obviously a very difficult sport. It's very exertive. It's a lot of running, changing direction, sprint. So, assisting your child in making good nutrition choices. Assist your child in practicing outside of practice. If they just come to the 2 team practices with their head coach, that's not going to get them anywhere. We supply the tools and they've got to go out and master the tools outside of team training. And then positive supporting comments during games, cheer them on. You got to think about it. If you were playing, would you want people shouting at you on the sidelines? And it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And it's something that I'm trying to get better at and the other coaches are trying to get better at. So I think as parents, we can also do the same and just enjoy it. Get your chair, sit back, lean back, support, cheer the boys and girls on and enjoy your weekend. So then this is a big one for me. Expectations of players. Arrive on time to all practices and games. Obviously, there's going to be times when you can't if there's traffic, etc. But really try your best to arrive on time. Goalkeepers to attend goalie practices. All players to wear their ASC practice jersey at training sessions, along with dark shorts and dark socks. Let's look professional. Be positive and support their teammates. Hold teammates accountable in the right way, but have a positive team culture. We don't really want culture killers that can influence development and results. We really want to have a positive team culture. Show up with the correct attire and apparel. Practice jersey, shin guards under your socks, not over your socks. Cleats, bring water, bring both game jerseys. Sometimes you might be away and you bring your away jersey, but if the home team's wearing the same color, we might have to change. So please bring both. Be open to constructive feedback as a means to fuel their learning and player development. And then this one's huge for me. I want players and I need players to hold themselves accountable for their development. A fellow coach used this in their presentation yesterday and I liked it, so I stole it. And it was be the main character. The players need to be the main character of their soccer career. They can't rely on a coach only to get them where they want to be. So if you're the main character, what can you do to improve as much as you can? I mean, if you're only practicing twice a week, are you really the main character, or are you just hoping the coach develops for you? So, be in control of your own destiny. Don't wait until tryouts without doing anything extra and going, oh no, I might get put on this team now, or am I going to stay on this team? And the last thing is effort and focus. Whenever you're practicing at Alameda, they're the 2 things we need. Maximum effort and maximum focus, and then we can help you develop as much as you can. Conflict resolution. Please wait at least 24 hours after a game before addressing any issue with a coach. Us coaches, we put a lot of time and effort and we get stressed as well on game days. And, after a game is finished, our emotions are all over the place. Just wait at least 24 hours, wait until that Monday, wait until that Tuesday. If there is still an issue, please bring it to the coach's attention. And I say bring it to the coach's attention first, because sometimes that doesn't happen. And sometimes parents come to me and I say, well, have you spoken to the coach? And they say no. And then as soon as they speak to the coach, all of a sudden the conflict has been resolved. So bring the issue to your coach first. If it then needs to be progressed further, we'll go to your technical director. And then if it needs to be progressed further, then it will come to me and we'll deal with it. But I'm going to say it again, please go to your coach first, because I had a few instances this year where they didn't, and it would have been resolved a lot easier and a lot quicker if they did. And then the last bullet point, just please don't wait until the end of the season to bring up issues when it's probably too late to deal with it. If there's an issue and it's concerning you, my aim as the director of coaching of this club is to improve your experience. And if you're not getting the experience that you're paying for, I want to help you resolve that as soon as possible. Please don't wait until the end of the season when things are likely too late. So now into the key details of the season calendar. So we've just had our tryouts, very busy period. Thank you to all the parents getting your son or daughter out there. Thank you to all the coaches. It was very smooth. So the team meetings, they're happening today. And then your individual team meetings will be, either tonight or within the next week. Team camps, they'll be between the weeks of July 8th and August 9th. The full season, that will run from July 15th through November 22nd. We'll then break for Thanksgiving. And then there will be a winter season, which is a additional optional expense, which I'll go into shortly. And then we'll have our spring season again running from February 24th through May 4th. And then we'll just repeat the process again. We go through tryouts and we go through another successful season. The summer/fall schedule, that will be released around mid-June. We're just awaiting for permits. So we'll be looking to hopefully finalize that over the next few weeks. I know that's probably a big question that you all have, but bear with us there. As soon as we can, we'll get it out to you. The full season games, they start even earlier this year. They start on August 17th. Team managers and coaches can work with the opponent to delay the start of the season, but that is game date 1 according to NorCal, so a little bit earlier than in previous years. And in the first spring season game, that will be March 1st. So summer camp schedule and tournaments. The summer camp schedule, that should be added to your team snap already. If it's not, check in with your coach to get this added as soon as possible. And then the same with any tournaments. Coaches should already have a good idea of what tournaments they're looking to enter. What I recommend is adding quite a few on there and seeing which ones have the best availability. If they're not on there, check in with your coach again ASAP, get this added. Please mark your availability for these as soon as possible, so the coach and team manager can quickly identify what tournaments players are available to attend. That way you can apply before the deadline. We don't want you to miss a tournament you've got all the players for because you were late signing up. And then if you can't make your own summer team camp, you can attend another team camp of similar age or ability. Chris Lonsdale, coordinator, he'll send this out within the next week or so. It'll be a little form for you to fill out, and then we'll get back to you with what team you've been assigned. So if you can't make your own one, it's not a problem. We will find the solution for you. So with winter training, each team born from 2011 through 2018 will have the chance to enter either SO5, which was Palladium, or Copa Futsal, which is in Walnut Creek, depending on what the team prefer. It's all down to them. 2006 through 2010 teams, they will break for the high school soccer season. If you are a 2010 who is not at high school, what will that be, like September through December? You will have the option of training through with 2011 teams. So not to worry there. If you do participate in winter, there will be 2 practices a week with a paid coach. The weekend games will be parent-led, as all coaches have 24/7 winter clinics on the weekend throughout winter. So it's a little less laid back, and it's not about winning at all. It's just ensuring the players are still developing in the off season. There's massive differences in the players that take 3 months off and the ones that don't. However, if you don't want to participate in it and you want to do baseball, you want to do basketball, and you do want November through February off, that is completely fine. That is not a problem at all. we have a lot of multi-sport kids here in Alameda, and we believe in multi-sports as well. So if you don't want to, you don't have to sign up. That is completely fine. It is just there as an option for players that do want to train through. And we are noticing here at Alameda every year, more players do want to train through because they do see the benefit. Uniforms. We are currently in year 2 of a 2-year cycle. Chris Lonsdale, again, will send an email out to all team managers and coaches next week in regards to the next steps. And then team managers and coaches can relay the information to all the parents. As it's year 2 of a 2-year cycle, returning players do not need to purchase a new jersey. They can if they wish, but they definitely don't need to. It will be next year when we start a new cycle per our Adidas contract that you will need to. So how do we teach? How do we teach our practices? We try to go as opposed as possible. There might be slight differences depending on, are there low numbers? Is it super hot outside? Have we just had 4 games on a weekend due to a tournament and we practice on Monday? So we might need to do something unopposed with a lighter workload. But 9 times out of 10, this is kind of how you'll see a session structure at Alameda. We'll start off with some rondos, one-on-ones, maybe up to some 3-versus-2s. Reason why? We want to develop the individual technique within a small group setting to maximize touches, but also decision-making. You know, I mentioned earlier, 10 years ago, when it was all about, let's do as much unopposed as possible. And I used to do like 60 minutes of unopposed work at practices. Out of the 75 minutes, I would do like 60 minutes unopposed, session after session after session. And my players were getting, you know, good in possession of the ball. They could master the ball, but the decision-making was horrendous. We were losing so many games, lose, and I couldn't figure it out. And then more research started to happen about the importance of opposed work in team practices, the importance of having opposition in every activity you do within a training session, because you need to develop that decision-making. So I started to, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, go, right, I'm going to go fully opposed. And I've got a case study on this because I've run the case study. The players that I've developed the most are the ones that have touched the ball in an imposed environment the most. However, the players still need to get that unopposed work outside of practice. So at Alameda, we have fast functional feet, which you get when you register. It's an hour a week. So you can go there, you get your unopposed touches in, your ball mastery, learn how to maneuver the ball in an unopposed environment. But when it comes to team training, we need to develop that decision-making as much as possible. And that's what we're looking to do here at Alameda. The next activity you'll look to do is a possession/positional activity. This will develop individual technique again, but also how to learn tactics, how to improve decision-making, where to be in relation to the ball. And it's quite funny because when you speak to coaches and they say, I do unopposed work because I want to develop technique. Well, I tell you one thing for sure. They are developing their technique in an imposed environment tenfold. There's no player that's ever done opposed work and not got better from it. So it's either develop your technique or develop your technique and your decision-making. So we want to do both. And then every team, every practice, finish with a scrimmage. I try and get at least 20 minutes because how do you know if what you have taught works? So every session, the last 20 minutes minimum, players must treat each scrimmage as if it's a World Cup final, be competitive, try and win. And after all, that's what players want to do most, right? All my players are like, coach, when's scrimmage? So that's what we want to do every session. And then these are the club principles that guide what we do as coaches and how our players play, how our teams play. So without boring you or going too much over your head, very quickly, we have 3 attacking principles and 3 defensive principles that we want all teams to do. And that kind of creates a club style of play. So if a player guest plays or moves up and down a team throughout the season or after a season, they pretty much have the same playing style to make that transition smoother. So width, depth, and height. Can we have players beneath the ball, above the ball, and in wide areas to keep possession? Can we play vertical? So can we play forward when it's on? There's nothing worse than a team making 100 passes but going nowhere. So yes, we want to keep the ball, but we want to go forward. And then also backspace. Can we get behind the opponent? Why do we want to get behind the opponent? Because we want to score goals. And then on the flip side of that, we have our defensive principles. So we have our pressing. If you are an Alameda Soccer Club player, you have to press. I expect every single player, if they are the closest player to the ball, to go get that ball. If you are a player, you're an Alameda Soccer Club player, you lose the ball, your first thought, your immediate thought is, can I counter press and win it back? If you are an Alameda Soccer Club player, you lose the ball and you do not try and win it back, that is not good news. We want to have these players in our club. And then shape the game. Shaping the game is being in a position as a team where you force the opponent to go one direction or the other. We don't just want to develop individual players that only focus on themselves. We want to focus on individual players that really understand the game. They understand what to do when they have the ball and when they do not have the ball. So this is probably one of the most important slides, the mandatory parent volunteer roles. We have 5 that need to be filled by the end of your team meeting. I'm being very serious when I say that if these 5 roles aren't completed and they aren't filled out, then you will not be given a practice slot for the season. The only way to get a practice slot and to get your 2 sessions and to get your schedule is to have these 5. So the first one, assistant coach. All teams require a volunteer coach to help with practices if they can. They don't have to make all practices if they can't. If they can't make practices, that's fine. But ideally, they can make it at least 1 a week. Help with warm-ups, be there if a head coach has a game conflict. You know, all of our coaches have numerous teams, so there will be the occasional time where they cannot make a game if there's a conflict. We can only control what we can control. So, you know, it's vitally important we find an assistant coach. A team manager, if you've ever been a team manager, thank you so much from the bottom of all of our coaches' hearts. You really help us. You help the team, you help the players, you help the parents, you help everything. The team manager should be on a pedestal, honestly. They're there to communicate and coordinate with the coach and other team managers and opponents to schedule games, ensure the team snap calendar is updated with practices, games, and team bonding events, etc. This role can be split between 2 different people, 3 different people if they wish, but we definitely need at least 1 person to keep things ticking. A team referee, we need at least 1. If there's 2, 3, 4 people that can help out, fantastic. Please come forward. We are going to be running a referee course in the summer. John Richer, our ref coordinator, will have more details on that soon. So we do provide a course for you, and there's numerous courses throughout the year, but we do need people to step forward. Due to a severe shortage of referees, not only in this area, but in the country, all over the world, games are getting cancelled. If there's no ref, game gets cancelled. So in order to help our players play the game, we need refs. PCA liaison. This person will attend the club's PCA training, Positive Coaching Alliance, on behalf of the team to ensure parents stay calm and, you know, remind the parents that this isn't the World Cup. We want to make sure that we have a really positive environment on the sidelines. And yes, there are going to be times where it gets really intense and really exciting. And I love it when the parents are loud. I love it when the parents are cheering. I love it when the parents are getting into the game. But as long as it's in a positive way, like, great job, yeah, come on. Like, I love it when the parents, you know, are shouting, or even the coaches. You know, the PCA liaison is also there to make sure the coach is in check, you know. But when they're having a go at the refs and having a go at the players and having a go at the other parents, it's just not a good look, and that's not what we want to be seen as at Alameda. So the PCA liaison will, you know, try and keep things positive within that team. And then sponsorship coordinator. Kristen, I think you're on. Feel free to unmute yourself and, you know, explain a little bit about this role. I think you'll do a better job than I.
All right. Thanks so much, Mark. Can you guys hear me? Mark, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kristen Curran. I am Maddie. She's a 2010 girl. and Annie and Izzy, she's a 2013 girl mom. I'm also a manager, and I am the sponsorship coordinator this year. So I'm new to the board. As Mark said in the beginning, there are so many board members, and my first board meeting, I was like, wow, there are so many people doing so many things so that our kids can play soccer. Anybody who is thinking like, could I help out, or is there something for me? As a new board member, I just want to put a little push to say, absolutely, there is ways to put in, and there are people on the board who have been helping out for like super long, like probably decades. I don't know. James looks young, but he seems like he's been around for a long time. Yeah, I called you old James. But anyways, everybody is super welcoming. So I super encourage you to join. And they put me in charge of sponsorship coordinator, which I was like, but I hate money. And they're like, that's why you'd be perfect. Because I was the only person who voted against our fees going up. I was like, what? But we have a rainy day fee. And they're like, yeah, but everything costs money, Kristen. And you got to have money coming in to keep fees going down. So in order for our club fees to stay down, in order so we can pay our awesome coaches and grow grass and all that other stuff, we have to have sponsorship money coming in. So this summer, I have some plans to try to get more league sponsors. I'm going to approach some local businesses. But what we really need is just like, Alameda Little League and a lot of the other local sports leagues do a great job of hitting up our local businesses. I know we kind of went down with the pandemic because everybody was hurting for money. We have to go out to our community partners and say, hey, we need you guys to help us out. So every team has to have a sponsorship coordinator. That can't be the team manager. And that coordinator is going to be in charge of finding a team sponsor. I will work with you. I'll get you the paperwork. And either your team is going to find a local business who's willing to give you, it says $475, but this year it's $500 to sponsor the team. Or unfortunately, the parents are going to come together and do it. Or you guys are just only going to have enough money to do 2 tournaments, not 3. But I really do think that if a little T-ball team can come up with $350, then I'm sure our competitive soccer teams can work with a local company or find a business or find somebody who will sponsor, and I'll work with you. So for the first meeting, just find a parent who's willing to be the sponsorship coordinator and then come in contact with me. And then I have some ideas too, where hopefully we can work together and see if maybe a sponsor would rather just, instead of being a team sponsor, might want to be a league sponsor. Because if we can get more money in, then instead of having our fees go up, maybe they could stay the same. And really, if you look around at other clubs, we do get a really great bang for our buck. And I know, having just paid fees for 3 kids, it is a big hit for some families in their budget. I'm in the Coast Guard, so it's a big chunk of our family's budget doing competitive sports, but it's really meaningful to my girls. And I wish that Mark and all the coaches got as rich as they deserve doing this. But sponsorship is a way that more families can participate. We can do scholarships, and we can keep our fees at a reasonable rate. So anyways, please, please, please have a parent. Otherwise, I'm going to have to nag the team manager. And do not have your team manager be your sponsorship coordinator. There's just too much already on that person's plate. So more to follow. And I really look forward to working with that person. All right. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thank you, Kristen. That was great. So next steps, register now. If you haven't already, we've received a few emails saying I'm not on the team's TeamSnap. It will be because you haven't registered. So please register ASAP. Do it now. You will only be added to your TeamSnap account once you have registered. Then when you've registered, you'll get an invite to join TeamSnap. Do that. Accept the invitation. Then just make sure all the information is added and correct. So cell numbers, email addresses, for as many parent guardians as you want. Have as much information on there as possible. It won't harm you. If you're still waiting on a financial aid code, that's fine. I believe the codes have already started to go out, so that's a very quick process here. Apparently, this club is so good at getting these codes out. So if you're still waiting on that, that's fine. If you're not waiting on a financial aid code, please register now. And then last thing from me is good luck this season. We have the individual team meetings happening, you know, either tonight, tomorrow, next Monday, whatever it may be. If you don't know when your individual team meeting is, then reach out to your coach as soon as possible. We do have Jack Hobbs Boyd, who is still in England. So if you have him as a coach, he's going to do that when he arrives in the country. But everyone else should be within the next week or so. What I will do is stop sharing. I will allow any board members or coaches to say anything that I may have missed. But if not, feel free to jump off and get ready for your team meetings if you have it today.
I just put the link for the team meeting schedule in the chat. So if anyone's missing that link, you can find it there.
Mark, do you want to mention about Sunday? Or is that not to be mentioned on it?
Yeah, James Murray, do you want to sell it?
Or Lillian?
Or Lillian?
I don't see Lillian stepping up, so I think she's going to want me to do it. So we have a community-wide event on Sunday at Hornet Futsal Courts. That will be a Alameda Soccer sponsored taco truck. Adult and family child beverages will be some. We're encouraging people to bring appetizers, desserts. There was on the email. Some people will bring appetizers, some will bring dessert. But this is a great opportunity to meet the coaches, get to know them off the field. You know, some of them won't be as grumpy off the field as they are on the field sometimes. Some people are smiling right now. I see that. But this is a really great opportunity to meet the coaches in a social environment, get the players involved. We'll have open futsal, so do not bring cleats. Cleats are not allowed in the futsal court, so we'll have pennies, we'll have futsal balls, and the futsal will be open for all players. I think that about sums it up. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for jumping on. If you've got any questions, feel free to stay behind and ask. A few of us, our coaches, will stay on quickly. If not, have a good evening. Have a good season. I'll see you on the field soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice of you to turn up, James.
I was here the whole time.
I'm in Mason.
Wait, he's in country?
I think his phone had broke.
He's muted too, so you get to watch him try to talk into the muted phone.
I just realized that as well.
We've been working on muting him for years now.
I could do it myself. Don't worry about
that. Mark, coaches, thank you very much for doing this. This was awesome.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Cheers, everyone. I'm guessing that will be it. I don't think any other questions.
No, you could.
You want to speak to me?
That should be it. You can stop recording.
All right.
What time is that thing on Sunday? I know they said it was at the field.
1 o'clock.
Sweet. Okay.